Hey everybody, it's Roxanne again with Normal Life with Epilepsy number 3. I want to start back up again with after or going through delivery. We have our first child. It was very good that I had no seizures. That was wonderful. But I didn't get to see our baby right after delivery. Before that, I got to see her. The doctor, pediatrician, took her into the nursery and checked everything, make sure all that was all right with her because of the medication I was on and having seizures. So after everything was good from the pediatrician checkup, I got to hold her and was so sweet and never thought that having a baby would be like that. And it was just heartwarming and also scary. um, we got to bring her home being parents. Wow. So I didn't breastfeed and got to making bottles after bottles after bottles. And one thing I was not talked about, was not told, was the postpartum depression. And I believe I had it. Um, it. I just wanted to lay in the bed and cry. And thank goodness my husband had taken 2 weeks off of work. But he did everything so wonderful that he was able to hold our daughter and take care of her. Um, I did get asked to change diapers, though. He hated changing diapers. But just crying and crying. My husband held her while whenever she needed to be picked up, and he talked to me and told me and her that she would get to see Halley's Comet in 2 times in her life because Halley's Comet went through while they were outside and went to see it. So finally, a couple of days before he went back to work, he said, "Here, you're holding her and rocking her and crying. You can just cry." And so I went to her room, got into the rocking chair, crying while I sang to her. And the reason that I had to do that was she was crying. She wasn't eating good and spitting up a lot, so we had to call the pediatrician and say, "Well, what can we do?" He says, "Well, she probably has gas." And we're like, "What? She probably has gas." So we had to give her this silicone drops for her to help her stomach and not spit up. So I need to tell y'all that I had something special made for me to hold her. So if I had a seizure, I wouldn't drop her. And that is something I didn't want to do. So I had one of the little holders you see now, everybody walking around with, holding their baby across their chest and just snuggling them like that. So I had to have that whenever I would walk around with her or even hold her feeding her because I didn't want to drop her. And it made me feel safe with her being alone because, of course, no, everybody else working and me being home with my first child, that made me feel safer. So after 8 weeks, I got to go back to work and no sleep, no sleep. I was drinking coffee, getting caffeine, trying to stay awake because would have to wake up and be fed every 3 hours, and made sure I had bottles made so it wouldn't have to take time to do that with her crying. And no sleep, of course, is bad for seizures and epilepsy. So I was still having 10 to 15 a month. Um, it was hard. And especially with working and coming home, making more bottles for throughout the night and throughout the next day to take to the daycare that the hospital had for us. Um, it wore me out. So my husband and he told me that there was rice that you can feed children, babies at 8 weeks to 10 weeks. But we started our little girl, our baby, with rice mixed in the milk, which was still able to go through the nipple on the bottle, so she would be fed. Well, the first time we gave her that, she slept 5 hours. And I sat up in the bed and was so worried, was like, what is wrong with her? What is wrong with her? She slept 5 hours straight, which was wonderful because I wasn't really wore out. So was able to work. And this time was when my seizures started changing. I would have them where it was in 3 days at a time, and then skip a couple weeks, and then have 3 days straight of seizures, maybe three in one day, and it got so weird. But I would be happy I would go 2 weeks without one, but then I just kept thinking, oh boy, when is it going to start back up? When am I going to have all of these in one day or all of these in 3 days? Because I just worried, and it was getting to me. I kept trying all these other medications now again. Going back to the doctor, getting taken off of one, getting put on another one, and then I'd have to remember, start at half a pill this day, start a whole pill after this week, and then, you know, writing all that down and keeping up with that, and then feeding my baby. It was tiresome, and my husband helped a lot, but caused so much stress on me. And I guess I hid it because I didn't want to lose my job. I didn't want to worry my husband. So, still having that many a month, I went through like 10 different medications during a year and a half. And, well, our daughter was growing up, and she was a year and a half years old, and I finally let my neurologist talk me into surgery because the thought in my mind was my daughter, only being a year and a half old, wouldn't remember it. She wouldn't remember me being bald or having a scar. Um, and I finally told the neurologist yes. So this is it for today. I'm going to go through everything on my next podcast, what I had to do to have surgery. Thank you, everyone that listens. And it'll be a very interesting one the next time I come on and record. Thank y'all. Bye.